Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to this awesome tutorial. I am Dennis, and today I will be showing you how I made this cool 3D title animation using Cinema 4D and After Effects. So let's take a look at that real quick. Alright, cool. So as you can see, there are a lot of little things going on. So let's just jump right into it. Here we are in Cinema 4D, and the first thing I want to do is to make your text. And to do that, I'm going to use a mode text object. I'm going to type in my word, and normally I like to center it in the middle. And you can scroll through your fonts and find one that you like. For this example, I'm going to use this one called Airstrip 1, which I thought looks pretty cool. It's a little different than the one I showed you here, but the approach is exactly the same. Okay, next I want to collapse this into a editable geometry, and the easiest way to do that is to use a connect object. I'm going to drop that in, uncheck weld, and hit C, and now you have your text as a geometry. The next thing I want to do is to make a cloner object with a cube. Oh, by the way, I'm using Shift C to bring up the command line, and then where I can just type in whatever you want to type in. I'm going to drop the cube into the cloner object. I'm going to scale that down a little bit, and I'm going to change the mode to a grid array. And I'm going to hit F1, 2, 3, 4 to toggle through my views. Here I am in the front view, and I'm just going to scale that up and down a little bit, like so. And obviously I need more cubes, so just going to add some more cubes on X, on Y, like so. Okay, great. Now I'm just gonna rename this real quick. It's gonna be my voxel source, and I don't need to see anymore, so I'm gonna hide it by alt-clicking these little circles right here. Now with my cloner object selected, I'm gonna use a volume effector. So you can find that under mograph, effectors, volume, and I don't need scale. You can ask for a object to reference, so we have our voxel source right here, and then just gonna check visibility, and there you go. This is it's already starting to look pretty cool. And what I like about this method is everything's still live, so if you want smaller cubes, you can just scale that down and add more clones, like so. And I already have some values I was playing with earlier, so I'm just gonna type that in. But when you're working yourself, you can feel free to tweak as much as you want and get the look that you like. Okay, let's see, 900 and 270. Okay, yeah, something like that. Wait, there we go. 49, I think. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. So next thing I want to do is to make your animations, and in my example, I had cubes animated in from left to right and from the front. So to do that, real easily, I'm going to use a plane effector. Once again, under mograph effectors, plane effector, and by default it has 100 on the Y. I don't need that. Instead, I'm gonna animate it in the Z axis, maybe like 200 or something like that. See? Yep. And I'm gonna turn on the fall off. You have a bunch of different options. I'm just gonna use a linear, and make sure you're on the right axis. I'm using the x-axis, and there you go. See, as you push that through, you're going to animate it in, and you can always adjust your fall off by just, changing it up and down like so. And when you're working on this yourself, once again, feel free to tweak it as much as you want. You can make it sharper or smoother, whichever you like. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna keyframe my plane effector. In the beginning, I'm gonna make this 5 seconds long. Go to the end and just script it through. Oops. Okay, there we go. Let's play that back. Okay, cool. Alright, that works for me. Now, see, right now they're already, you can see it right in the beginning. So I want them to animate in from nothing. So to do that, I'm going to use another plane effector, and this time, instead of position, I'm going to use scale. Check out uniform scale and put a -1. And once again, I'm going to turn on the fall off because right now they're all gone. So I'm going to use a linear fall off, and let's see. Yeah, there you go. As as they're passing through the fall off, they're animating in from 0. And once again, you can size or scale your fall off to make it smoother or sharper. Okay, let's play that back real quick. Okay, cool. All right, that looks cool to me. All right, the last thing you want to do right now, everything is coming in very uniform, so you want to break that up a little bit, make it more organic. So easily you can use a random effector, and you can see all your effectors in your effectors tab, and the order at which these effectors are placed here matters. So I actually want the random effector before all my plane effectors, and instead of position, I don't need to see that. I'm just gonna add a little bit of weight right here, and now it should be coming in a little bit more random. Look at that. Let's play that back. Alright, cool. So what I like about this method, everything's still live, so you can go back and tweak it as much as you want. But yeah. Yeah, okay. Alright. Alright, cool. That looks good to me. So now I'm going to hide all of these because I don't want to see them. It's a little distracting. Oh, wait. There we go. Okay, great. Alright, that's something, that's pretty much what I was looking for. Okay, at this stage, I would usually try to just block in the camera animations. And so to do so, I'm going to create a camera. Make sure you're in the view. This is checked. And I'm going to start with a close-up. So just go in there with your camera and find an angle that's kind of cool. Let's see. Yep, a little closer, something like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. So with my camera selected, I'm just gonna hit this keyframe and go to the end, and I'm gonna pull back a little bit. Just a little subtle pull back. Hit keyframe again, go to beginning, play that back. Alright, cool. Let's see. Huh. Alright, that looks good to me. You know what? Actually, I'm going to click all of this, and I want this to animate a little sooner. So there we go. Okay. So now it comes in right away. Go back to my camera. Play this. Yeah. Well, I can even push it in a little farther from the beginning. So. Oops. Right. Let's see. You know what? It's fine. Okay. So I have my one camera, and I'm gonna make another one. It's gonna be a little farther back, like so. All right. Keyframe. Just move that in the beginning. Go to the end. Pull back a little bit. Keyframe again. Yep. Okay, that looks fine to me. And I'll make a third one. And this one will just be all the way back, so you can see the whole thing. Let's see. Center it. Alright, that looks about right. So once again, camera selected, keyframe, go to the end. I'm gonna do a little more camera drift. So I'll play that back. Cool. And once again, with all this, you know, you can always go back and tweak as much as you want. That's the cool thing about Cinema 4D. Everything's live. Okay, great. So I got my 3 camera animations. Start a little closer, a little further back, and all the way back. Cool. All right, cool. Okay, the next thing I want to do is actually make my wall, and I'm going to use the exact same method with a cloner object and a cube. I'm going to drop the cube once again as a child of the cloner object. Oops. Let's see. And once again, I'm going to make this into a grid array, and instead of 3, I'm going to just need 1 in a z-axis. I'm going to go to F4 to go to my front view, and I'm just going to size this up a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to add some more cubes. Let's see. Go to all the way to the end. I'm going to move this back a little bit. Like so. Okay. Alright, that looks fine to me. And now with my, I'm going to rename this my wall, and this is my voxel. And with my wall selected, I'm gonna let's let's see, I'm gonna use a shader effector, and I'm gonna use a noise under shader noise. And right now he's scaling it by default. The scale is turned on. I don't really want that. I just want it to go in a Z direction, maybe 20. And let's see. Okay. And in my noise, I can make this big. You can. It's just like your noise in After Effects. You have all the same settings, and you can animate it. So I'm just gonna put 1 as my animation speed, because I just want a little subtle animation. And yeah, that looks fine to me. Let's see from the top. Okay, maybe I'll move things a little closer. Okay, cool. I'm gonna turn off this grid. It's gonna annoy me. Alright, cool. Let's look through my camera. Yep. Okay, I actually need to make this a little bigger, my wall, because you see you can see the bottom here, so I'm just gonna make this a little bigger. And oops, add more cubes on the Y. Go to my front view. Yep. Oops. Okay. That looks fine to me. So now I'm gonna do some shading and lighting. So I'm gonna hide my wall first. I'm just gonna work on voxel. And I'm gonna turn off my cloner. And with my cube selected, I'm gonna hit C to collapse this. I'm going to edge mode and hit K to bring out my knife tool. And I'm gonna use a loop selection. And I'm just gonna make a loop here. Then I'm gonna go into polygon mode. I'm gonna hit UL to bring out my loop selection. And I'm gonna hit NG just to see. There you go. I'm gonna set selection on that. I'm gonna call it my light. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna make a this is gonna be my glass material. So I'm gonna rename that glass. Drop it on my cube. And change the colors a little bit, make it a little dark blue. Turn on transparency, maybe not 100%, maybe 90. I'm gonna make it 1.4. These are just values I was playing with. You can do whatever you want. I'm gonna add a little bit of a blue here. Alright, okay. So right now these apply to the whole cube. So I'm gonna make another material. This is gonna be my light. And drop it in. I'm gonna use my light selection, and now it's only this area right here. So I'm just gonna use luminance for this part. And in my luminance, I'm gonna add a gradient. Okay, right now see how it's kind of weird. It's because it's using its default UV. So I don't want that. I'm going to use a flat projection. I'm going to go to my texture mode, enable axis, and I'm going to right click. I'm going to say fit to object. So it scales that down a little bit, and I'm just going to turn that 90 degrees. Move it, scale it up and down. Okay. Alright, that looks fine to me. Oops. What did I do? Alright, cool. Now go into my gradient, and I'm gonna make the black part white, and make the end, I'm gonna make it a little blue, like so. Okay, and turn my cloner back on, and there you go. I'm gonna hit Control R just to quickly preview this. Alright, looks good to me. Alright, so now I'm gonna hide this, gonna turn my wall back on, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Take my cube, hit C to collapse this, and once again, oops, you can hit UL to bring up your loop selection. So you just select a loop like so, and I'm going to set a selection for set selection. I'm going to color my lights, and now I'm going to make a base material for the wall. It's going to be a dark shiny material. Oops. And I'm gonna make that just dark like that. I'm gonna see the default specular is fine. It's not a make it small, like so. Okay, I'm gonna make another light material. Oops. Call it lights. Drop it in. Make sure I have my selection tag applied to it. And once again, all I'm going to use is a luminance. So I don't need to check the colors or whatever. And once again, in my luminance, I'm going to add a gradient. And this time, I'm going to change that to a circular, like so. And the default UV seems to work just fine. So I switch that around and make that a little blue, like that. Right. Okay, cool. I'm going to turn my wall back on. There you go. So now every time it animates, you'll see a little bit of the light coming through. Okay, I'm going to unhide my voxel. Let's see. Alright, cool. Let's go back to my camera. Just gonna hit Control R. It's just the default lighting. There's no lighting right now. Okay, looks fine to me. So for my lighting, usually I just use the Grayscale Gorilla Light Kit Pro. I find that to be really easy because I'm using the basic standard render engine. If you have something like Octane or whatever, you know, go ahead and use that. It's probably better. But I don't have it, at least on this computer, so I'm just gonna use my standard render, and I'm gonna throw in a linear skylight. I like this a lot, and I'm gonna change my colors to light blue, a little more blue. I don't need to see it by camera. Let's just render. Okay. Right, it's a little slow, but okay. And I think that's all I did. Maybe make not so bright, make like 50%. And in my glass material, I'm gonna make 50. Just make it a little more thicker. Oh, I think, and what I did is I actually turned on the glow for this one, and maybe a little less, 100%. And okay. I can make this a little smaller just so it's quicker to render. I'm gonna do a test render preview. Let's see. Yep. And when I'm working, you know, I'm not trying to do everything perfect in cinema right away. I try to get it to like 80 to 90% there, and then I'll do the rest in post in After Effects, just because I think it's quicker that way, especially for things like color correction and whatever. Okay, so you have a little bit of the glow, maybe and that you can, you know, glows and stuff like that you can adjust in After Effects real easy too. I'm gonna actually make that a little less. Just need a little bit subtle. So essentially, so this will be my my beauty pass. And once again, you know, when you're working on it yourself, spend the time and really just tweak out these settings a little bit. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go into my reflectance right now. Right now, you have this default specular. I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna add a Beckman, and let's see, dielectric. Yeah, they have these presets, so I'm gonna use a glass, and reflection strength. I'm gonna turn that down a little bit. Let's just oops. Let's render that real quick. Yeah, you know what? Looks fine to me. Okay, so basically, I had 3 different passes I was working with. This will be my beauty pass, and a second pass will be a ambient inclusion pass. So to do that, I'm just gonna make a luminous material. Gonna drop that on to my cube and my wall, and I'm gonna turn off my light. I'm gonna effect and ambient inclusion, and let's take a look at that real quick. All right, see, that's pretty quick. Nice. It's gonna make my maximum length about 50. It's a little subtle. Okay. All right, that looks good. And that's my second pass, my ambient inclusion pass. And my third pass was the cell render pass. That's, yep, there we go. But instead of, I'm just gonna switch colors a little bit, like so. Okay, so that's the 3 passes I had. I had a beauty pass, had an ambient inclusion pass, and a cell render pass. And at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and render everything from my different camera views. Okay, we're back here in After Effects, and I have imported my 3 passes. So this is my cell pass, my beauty pass, and my AO pass, like so. And before I do anything, I'm gonna go back into Cinema 4D because I want to export some of the data, the camera data. And first, I'm gonna make a null object. I'm gonna add an external compositing tag, and this is gonna be my reference just to see where things are. Go back here. See? Okay, so I'm gonna go to my render settings, and I'm gonna check on save, After Effects, save project, voxel tutorial. I already saved this before. Sure, go ahead, replace it. So back in After Effects, I'm going to import that AEC file, and when you do that, it's going to bring in your camera data, like so. What is this? Okay. I'm only have footage for camera 1, so I don't need the camera 2 and 3. Drop in my footage. 4 frames per second. Yep. I'm gonna hit N to bring my comp area and trim comp, like so. Okay, so now I have my my null object that's tracking with the scene. Let's start compositing. So I have my beauty pass. I'm gonna drop in my AO pass, like so. I'm gonna add a curves. Just crush a little bit. I'm gonna invert that. And I am gonna add a tint and change it to a little more of a bluish color. And then I'm gonna change the blending mode to add. There you go. And you can adjust the opacity a little bit. Okay, looks good to me. I'm gonna drop in my cell pass now, and again I'm gonna use a tint, and I'm gonna change that to a red. And once again I'm gonna add that to it. Yep. And I'm gonna add a mask because I only kind of want it in the middle. So feather that a little bit. Feather that. Okay. Oops. Yep. Something like that. Now I'm gonna add adjustment layer by pressing Control Alt Y to make my adjustment layer, and I'm gonna add a curves over all curves. Oh, actually before that, I'm gonna add a solid. Control Y. It's gonna be my vignette. Use the Eclipse tool. Subtract it. Feather it out. So change this to multiply, and play with your opacity a little bit. Something like that. Okay. Now I'll go back to my adjustment layer, and I'm just gonna crush this a little bit. Add a little more contrast, like so. Now I'm gonna add a glow. Everybody loves glows, right? Maybe like 0.3, 0.4. Yep, something like that. Okay, I'm gonna hide the null object for now. Okay. Now I'm gonna bring a animated texture I purchased. I go to videohive.net, and just look up high-tech textures, and I found this guy, this one. He has some really cool designs that I really dig, and it's only like $12, so sick deal. I'm not associated with this dude at all, but respect. Math design skills. Okay, I'm gonna import my textures from that guy. I think I just use texture 1. I'm gonna bring that in and turn that to a 3D file. And I'm gonna take the position of the null object, copy it, paste it on, scale that down a little bit, and change the blending mode to add, and there you go. And maybe add a little bit of curves on that. Okay, little curves. Let's see. Okay, maybe add a glow too. Okay, now I'm going to duplicate this layer, and I'm going to move it forward a little bit, maybe offset it, and now I'm going to use, you can use a fast blur to blur that out a little bit, like 5, right? But if you have it, I like to use this other one called autofocus from Frischlucht. It's pretty nice. It's just like a really cool looking lens blur effect. Okay. Yep, looks pretty good. Let's preview that. And that's pretty much it, That's, like I said, you can go back and really tweak it and adjust it as much as you want, but that's the methodology. And obviously this is camera 1. You would do the same thing for camera 2, camera 3, all your different shots, and then you can edit them together, add some sound effects, and boom, you're done. So I guess this is the end of this tutorial. I hope you guys liked it and learned something from it. And by the way, this is my first ever tutorial, so I apologize if I was rambling or whatever, but hopefully I'll get better at it in the future. And if you like it, if you guys like it, leave a comment, let me know, and hopefully I'll do some more cool ones in the future. Okay, this is just about done rendering, so let's look at it. Not bad, right? Not bad. I'm feeling this. Obviously you can add some like motion blur, some other stuff. There's a lot of cool shit you can do in After Effects, but that's about it. Out.